Good morning. This is Cecil and Blues. Welcome to the Wildstar Weigh-In. This week we're going to be talking about some things that came out of Gamescom, as well as some changes to the game that were announced last week that has got some community attention. First, because this is the weigh-in, let me start with an announcement on my current weight and where things have gone with that. I am at 221 pounds as of weigh-in today, and that is due to the contract work that I sometimes get a chance to do. It involves quite a bit of lifting and walking and just exercise, which I don't do normally. So, just probably good that I get out there and do that. When I am exercising, I do get an interesting reaction from my body. I don't get hungry. Not at all. I don't even want to eat. It's like my body says to me, whoa, whoa, whoa. You want to use this energy? Oh, we've been preparing for this very moment. We got you covered. You just keep working. We've got it all stored up. So that resulted in the weight loss that I saw this week. Maybe I should actually start walking or lifting things on a daily basis, and we can keep that up even on weeks where I don't get any contract work. Let's move on to Wildstar. This week we had two major news items. One revolved around runes, and J Tall posted up on the forums. It's a huge, multi-part, I think it's up to a 5-part thread at this point. And I'll be honest, I don't follow a lot of it. I am not huge into this area of the game, this min-maxing for raiding purposes. I love that it's there, and I think it's great that the system is deep enough that people can debate and find the min-maxy things. But something happened to me along the lines of playing MMOs where I stopped being super interested in this. I stopped searching out the perfect build, the perfect rotation, and now I just kind of play and have a fun time. So a lot of the really minutia in these rune changes is not completely sinking into me. I know that they are going in and they're going to make certain stat bonuses more available in all the different alignments, so that if you get an odd combination of rune elements, you're not totally hosed. The major change that they showed that I'm really in support of is that they normalized the runes on the items dependent on their rarity. Before, it was possible to get like a blue item that had 5 rune slots and one that only had 1. And that was a massive power differential in your items. And so you'd have to keep trying to get that item until you could get a drop that was high enough in rune count that it was functional for you. And then you had to worry about the colors. Now you only have to worry about the colors. Let me run down this breakdown on this section of it because I actually understand it. For a good quality item, that's a green item, you will have 0 rune slots or 1 rune slot. For an excellent quality item, this is blue, if it comes from a vendor, from a quest, or if it is crafted, it will have 2 slots. An excellent quality item, which I believe is also blue because I just said that, if that comes from a group content like a dungeon, it will have 3 rune slots always. A superb quality item, this is purple, if it comes from a vendor or a world loot, or if it's crafted, it will have 3 rune slots. If it is a superb quality item from a drop, a dungeon, or a raid, it will have 4 rune slots. Legendary quality items, if they come from vendors or world loot, or if they are crafted, they will have 4 slots. I don't even know if you can craft legendary items at this point, but legendary quality items from group content will have 5 slots. Artifact quality items, these are pink, will all have 6 slots. There is a noticeable exception, and this is gadgets. Gadgets will continue to follow their current expected rollout, which is, with some exceptions, good quality gadgets roll 0 rune slots, excellent and higher quality gadgets roll 2 rune slots. That's a direct quote from JTAL's post. So, how this gets further fixed is there will be an item you can use to add a rune slot to an item, and depending on the quality of the item, there is a maximum number of slots that it can have. So if you've got one of the crafted or vendor bought items, by spending extra resources to acquire these items, you can give it the number of rune slots that a dungeon drop would give you. The dungeon drop maybe can get 1 extra, and then the crafted item can get 2 extra. So you can get them to have parity, which is very important, I think. And it's expenditure of resource as opposed to an expenditure of time and or skill, depending on some people's perspective. So, I like that. I like where they're going with that, and I think it'll make runes more interesting. They also announced that they would be introducing a low-level series of runes that would be designed for people leveling up, that were very cheap to produce, that would not use the resources that you were saving for end game. And that, I think, is awesome, because right now you get rune items at low level and you just ignore it. It's the same way in World of Warcraft. You get gem items and you're like, why am I going to put gems in this? I'm just going to replace it in like 45 minutes when I complete my next quest. So, they continued on. There was a part 5, a part 6 of this, and it gets so deep in. And I think that's great. If you are interested in the way that runes are developing in Wildstar and you want to have an impact on that, check out the Wildstar forums. Head out there. I'll put a link in the video description here to take you to the thread and provide your feedback. What else has happened? Raid Attunement changes. This was announced last week on the Wildstar report. Is that what they call it? With the community program with Tony Ray. He talked about how they're going to be changing the attunement. They're going to be nerfing it a bit, because right now a lot of the community is getting stuck on the dungeon section, which is where you are supposed to get silvers. And I believe originally you had to get golds, and they reduced that to silver at launch. And I could be wrong on that. It could have always been silvers. Maybe they just changed how you got medals at one point. Ugh. So many things come out, sometimes it gets lost in your head, right? Anyway, these are the changes they are proposing to the current attunement process. On the step where you're supposed to get silver on veteran dungeons, as being changed to bronze. This removes the time requirement. That was the thing that was causing problems for people. People wanted to complete the dungeons because, hey, that's how you get a chance to get purples, by defeating that last boss. But if you were in a pickup group, you just weren't getting in the time frame. The world boss step is getting a change, but they don't know what. They haven't decided exactly what's happening. They're discussing it, and they don't want to give any details out. And then there is a partial primal pattern requirement. This is a step that occurs after you complete the 20-man raid, before you can run the 40-man raid. Everyone has to collect up 300 of these primal patterns, and they drop in dungeons off of bosses, I think. They also can drop off of raid bosses, and these may be a sort of thing you can buy for tokens too. I haven't really looked into this because I haven't even gone into the 20-man raid, let alone finished it. I am actually on the silver step, the dungeon step. I haven't put any effort into it. I don't have any qualms about it being there. I don't. We'll talk about my opinions here in a second, so let's just stay focused on the actual changes. They're going to lower that to 100 from 300 because it was too intensive. It's time consuming. It forces these raiders who have completed the 20-man raid, are ready to move into 40-man raiding, back into farming dungeons? I mean, I kind of understand the purpose for it from a game perspective, if you can keep the whole community focused on dungeons, then there's more dungeons for everybody. But the reality is, you don't want these high-end people forced into running dungeons, because they get angry about it, and then they don't like dealing with the people who aren't geared up, and that's just not fair. To the community, it's not fair to them, and it drags down the whole process. I don't even know why there's a step between 20 and 40. If you complete the 20-man, well, you should be able to run the 40-man. That should be the step. I don't know why there's an extra grind step. So, there was some discussion on, okay, what's going to happen then when people decide it's too hard to run the raid? Now that you've lessened the requirements to get in there, are you going to nerf the raids? And they say no, and they're not going to nerf the dungeons either. So this is just a change in requirements in the quest, not a change in the challenge of the content. So let's talk about my opinions on where we're going with this. Getting silvers in a dungeon in order to get access to the raid, it seems reasonable, right? It seems like a good choice. Like, now you've proven that you can work in a group and be semi-competent, and so it makes sense to have you do that before going into a dungeon. And it was relevant and good in the first month or maybe even 2 months of the game's lifespan. But now as the game continues on and the population matures and there's more people at 50 and there's more people raiding, what's going to happen is people are going to get tired of raiding. This always happens. Someone in your raid is going to be like, you know what, I got a job, then it conflicts with our raid schedule. Or, you know, who knows what else? Life circumstances, right? It could be disease, it could be work, it could be family, it could be anything. It'd just be boredom. You decide, I've seen everything I need to see in Wildstar, so I'm going to move on. It happens all the time. And now you have to replace that person. If you pull someone from outside your raid and they're not attuned, now your raid has to help that person get attuned. If this starts happening on a regular basis, you get stuck in this process of always having to help people attune, which limits the amount of time that your guild can focus on actually completing the raid content. Then, top-tier raids start requiring attunement, period. They're like, you know what, we're not going to bother with this. We're not helping people get attuned. That's your responsibility. That means, before joining these top-tier guilds, you join a lower-tier guild that is still very excited to help you get attuned because they want to get in there and they want to run this stuff. And then you leave and you join the high-end guild. And that hurts the community as a whole. So, what's best for the community is for you to be able, as an individual, be able to put in the effort that gets you attuned to run the raid, without having to bother or utilize your entire guild for an extended period of time to get that attunement. Because it works fine in the beginning, but over time people get tired of it. I was a mage in the vanilla World of Warcraft series, and I helped dozens of people get attuned for their Onyxia. I ran, not Lower Blackrock Spire, it's the jail event. I can't remember what the dungeon is called now. Something in Blackrock Mountain, though. And I ran that, God, in 1 week, probably 20 times. And I wasn't the tank. I wasn't necessary. But it was still, getting a full group together, you had to have someone willing to help fill out that group. And it was so frustrating to finish a run and then have someone log in and say, hey, I want to get attuned for Onyxia tomorrow. And now we got to do it again. If they had logged in a half hour earlier, we would have had them taken care of. But no, now we had to do it again. And you do it at the beginning, when you're top of the server and you're trying to fill out your raid. But then, a month later, when you've been running these dungeons, when you're running, second tier raids, and someone needs to get attuned for the first tier raid, oh man, you don't want to deal with that crap. So it needs to be designed in such a way that the individuals can take the time, do it without inconveniencing their raid or lying to other sections of the community in order to get it done. I think this is a fine reduction to bronze. It still requires you to do the content, to experience it, to understand how to be successful in a group context, and then you get into the raid and you learn the specifics. Your raid is going to make that determination if you're a qualified individual, and if you're performing at the skill level that they need. Some raids require incredibly high skill level, some require moderate, some are just in there for fun, like me. And I would never inconvenience my guild with my shitty playstyle. I mean, I am worthless. But if they want to just go in and have fun, I'll go in and have fun with them. The world boss step, this is another one. This is very time consuming. Finding a world boss and killing it doesn't necessarily require your guild, but it sure does require a lot of coordination. If you want to get it done quickly. You can't just like go from zone to zone to zone and hope to run into a world boss. You have to have scouts. You have to have people out there looking for world bosses and reporting back, letting you know if they're up. And then you go there. Like the best way to do it would be get a team of scientists is it that have the group teleport, and you can summon the guy who needs the kill. So I will be happy to hear if they reduce that down to like 5 world bosses from, I think it's 10 or 12 right now. And that'll just make it less inconvenient, because it doesn't teach you anything. They're very easy in comparison to raid. They do not require the precision of a raid encounter because you can zerg them. I've killed a couple of world bosses out there, the lower level ones, and you just run at them from the graveyard. Great big deal. You can have dozens of extra people there beating on them. And yeah, those changes, I don't see them as a big deal. I don't see them as a way that the game is being nerfed or destroyed. I don't think we're heading down this super casual route where we're going to have Raid Finder and all the raids are going to be super easy. But you know what? Even if we do, even if that's where we wind up, that actually works. And I know people don't like to hear that, but you don't have to run Raid Finder. You don't have to do the easy mode. Go in, do the hard mode. Having an easy mode opens up the content to the majority of the population, which allows you to spend the time and resource development-wise to create that content because everyone can have access to it. Then you can make a super hard version of that for your 1% player base that are enjoying that. So no matter what, that is always going to be there. You will always be able to enjoy super hard content designed by these developers, even if they go down the route that World of Warcraft went with easy mode versions of the raids just so that other people could experience them. SWTOR did it too, story mode. It's there. It's out there, and it's done for a reason. You want the majority of your population to be able to enjoy things, and you just have to tailor the rewards so that the people who are performing at the highest level get something special that they can walk around town and show off. That's how it works. That's my opinion, at least. Alright. Let's get away from the community opinions and drama-y stuff, and let's talk about some stuff that's coming to the game. At Gamescom, they gave us a preview of the Ultimate Proto game. So this has been in the test server for quite a while, so if you've wanted to look at this, you already have. But it will have a level 10 light version. This is going to be like kind of an introductory dungeon. It's going to be super easy because like the level 20 dungeons are actually quite challenging for introductory dungeons. So this is going to be more of an intro dungeon. It's going to be much easier. It's not going to be as difficult. At level 10, you don't have a majority of your tools, so it's it's not going to be as strict. It's going to be called Protostar Academy. There will be a level 50 version of the dungeon that as its primary design. There will be loot drops that are similar to existing veteran dungeons to help you gear up for raids. There will be multiple rooms that randomize, so every time you run the dungeon, you will get a different configuration. You will see some rooms, you won't see other rooms. It's been compared to Fractals of the Mist from Guild Wars 2. And, you know, it's Protostar themed, so you're going to have money and comedy as the primary elements going on. Each run of the dungeon, from what I understand, from what they said, each run of the dungeon will consist of 6 rooms and 3 bosses. And I don't know what the total number of rooms are available or the total number of bosses, but there should be some randomness, and they can expand it as time goes on to make it more random if they want. There will be rooms that require a lot of group coordination. There is one boss that was apparently designed off of fan art submitted by a young, like, child of a fan. So like a, you know, we're talking like 5-year-old, 6-year-old drawing. That's kind of funny. And you can go to the PTR today if you wanted to and check it out. I'm personally just going to wait till it shows up on the live servers. I think it looks like a lot of fun. They showed it off at Gamescom. If I have constructed this video correctly, you're watching footage of it right now. But I'm notoriously bad at constructing videos, so who knows what I put in for B-roll. Now, the final things that they discussed were the new zone that's coming in. It's called the Defile, and it leads us up to the Light Spire. This is the thing Dracira introduces in Dracira Story 5? Might be 4? 5? I think it's 5. Spoiler alert, you should stop this recording if you don't know if you have not gone through Dracira Instance 5. And just like skip ahead like 15-20 seconds here. I am about to say something. Here it comes. I'm saying it. It's where she has imprisoned the entity. And we are going to interact with the Light Spire and come to some conclusion. We're going to get the conclusion of Dracira's story. The secrets that she has been hiding from us, apparently, will be revealed at the end of the story section in the Defile. There will be solo content, there will be 5-man content, and there will be a 20-man event that are available. Very similar to what's available in the Strain area that comes after Grimvault. Why can I not think of Blighthaven? Blighthaven. Is that what it's called? Is it called Blighthaven? God, I hope so. It's that place that you do stuff at level 50 that I haven't gone to yet because some of the lore items you can't collect in Grimvault, and it made me angry. So I need to wait to go there until I have all my lore items. Okay. Events. They have announced that there will be a Shade's End, which is a Halloween event that will be coming in October. And it will be worldwide. The major capitals will get decorated, and there'll be events. It'll be a fun time. I'm really looking forward to that. I love world events. I think that they add a little bit of spice, even if they're themed after things that we, as Americans or Europeans, are familiar with. I don't need everything to be alien and foreign. It doesn't break my immersion. It's fun, and I like it. They also announced there will be a new PvP arena called the Icebox. So if you're into arena gameplay, you will have some variety there. I think that's about it. They showed off some great housing stuff. I was really impressed with some of the screenshots they showed. You guys are brilliant. If you're out there and you're doing artsy stuff with the houses, bravo to you. Your imagination and creativity are just great. And I'm so glad that the game gives you that outlet and gives you that information to function and have fun. Everyone gets to do what they want in this game. That's what I think makes Wildstar so strong, is that there are things out there for every type of hardcore player to really dive in and enjoy. And that's why I keep playing. That wraps me up for the week, though. And if you found this video interesting, helpful, or humorous in any way whatsoever, well, there's a like button. Looks like a thumbs up. You can hit it. You can also subscribe to the channel. Next week, who knows what we'll cover? They're talking about stuff right now on the Nexus Report, and I'm not watching it, which is bad for me. Probably catch it on YouTube tomorrow, on the official Wildstar channel. There may be a link to that down in the description below as well. I have been Cecil in Blues, and you have been listening to the Wildstar Weigh-In. I'll catch you next week, or plus or minus depending on how much contract work I get. Have a great day.